I got some practice, I guess, before we started this one. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a list called cars. We're going to put Audi, BMW, Subaru, and Toyota. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an if statement. So if statements will check if something is true, and if it is, it's going to, well, first we're going to create a for statement. So we're going to do a for loop to check for car in cars. So for every single car, we're going to create a variable called car in this list of cars. And then we're going to put here if car in cars equals to. So if you put 1 equal and I put 0, this would make car equal to 0. But if you put 2 equal signs, it's a comparison. So if we put BMW, so BMW is capitalized whenever it's just alone, and you don't really see it just lowercase. So if car equals BMW, we're going to print that car in uppercase. And then we're going to type else. So it's going to say, all right, if car equals BMW, do this. Anything else, we're just going to print that car with title. So just capitalize the first letter. So if we look, we got Audi, BMW, Subaru, Toyota. So BMW is all caps, just like we checked up here. We put our car.upper and our car.title. So everything else is just capitalized in the first letter. So that's how you can just check if each car is equal to something else. So let's say we wanted to do something similar but for pizza toppings. So let's say we're going to put toppings and it's equal to mushrooms. So someone wants mushroom pizza. So we can check if topping equals, or sorry, we'll put not equals. So if you put an exclamation point in front of an equal sign, it means not equal to. So if topping does not equal anchovies, we're going to print hold the anchovies. And we see here, our topping is not equal to, our topping is mushrooms, it's not anchovies, so it's going to print out this statement of hold the anchovies. So you can use these for your strings. You can also use them for numbers. So we're going to just check something for numbers, for example. So we've got age equals 12. So we can do if age is greater than 18, print you can vote. So here it's just like in school. If this variable is bigger than this variable, this statement will be true. So it's going to print out you can vote. If you type else, what this does is it gives you an option. It tells you what you can do if this isn't equal to. So if it's not equal to this, do this instead. So we're going to print out sorry, you can't vote yet. So if you run this, we get sorry you can't vote yet. So what would happen though if we typed 18? We would still get sorry you can't vote yet, and that's because age is set to be greater than. Well, you can vote at 18, so you can put greater than and equal to. So now we can say you can vote. So you want to make sure that you cover all your options whenever you're creating these. You don't want to leave out any number that couldn't be here. So we could do something similar to, let's say we want to, let's see here. Let's check out if we're going to look at a list of users. So this is how you can check with two different variables. But let's say we have a list of users. So we've got banned users. So these people are not allowed to post. And we've got Andrew, Carolina, and David. So I'm just going through these different lessons inside the book. I'm skipping some of them because they just do the same thing over and over. But I'm just showing you how you can use different variables in different situations. So let's say we had a list of banned users on a forum, and if user not in banned users, so remember, usually we do user in banned users. So we've been doing for user, and it would create a variable called user in every single one of these list items. So Andrew, Caroline, and David. But instead, we're going to do if user, and we're going to make sure that they're not in banned users. We're going to print with a format saying user.title. So we're going to address that user and give them capital letter. You can make a post if you wish. So since this user is not inside the list of banned users, Marie is going to be able to make a post, and she's going to get a message saying you can make a post if you wish, because she is not banned. So these are just different ways you can set things and make sure that they are working properly, and make sure that the banned users are not going to be able to post, or if you've got another list of items that you don't want people to be able to do, you can put them in the same thing. Now we're going to go to testing if a user or if a car is inside of a list of something. Let's say car equals Subaru, right? So our new car, let's say we're testing out different types of cars, and we're trying to see if it matches to our statement. So print is car equal to Subaru. So they're just going to make an actual statement here. Is car equal to Subaru? And then we're going to put I predict true. So whenever you're using variable Boolean expressions, you always want to put capital T's. I know this is just a string, so this isn't going to be read. But whenever you read, let's say if we put car equal true, if you put it with lowercase, it's not going to give you the same effect. It's going to give you an error because the name true is not defined. So it's actually looking for a variable called true. But if you capitalize it, we're going to get car equal to true. But what we're trying to check here is print car equal to Subaru. So this right here is going to check. It's going to think, and it's not going to set car equal to Subaru. It's going to check, okay, is car equal to Subaru? And up here we have it defined as car equals Subaru. So whenever we do this, it's going to print out our Boolean expression of true. So let's try something else. Let's print something that isn't equal to true. So is car equal to Audi? I predict false. And we're going to come down here, we're going to print car equal to Audi. And once we do that, it's going to give us the Boolean expression value of that, and which is false. So this is how you can just do different things and compare comparisons to them. You can check if two different variables are equal to each other. And we're doing this with strings, so they have to be case sensitive. So if I was to put Subaru here, we're going to get false up top. So you want to make sure if you're comparing strings that you got the case correct. With numbers, it's pretty straightforward. You would just get rid of, you can actually store numbers here as, let's say we put car equals 0, and then we would check if car equals 0. It's going to give you false because we're storing this here as an integer, and here it's being stored as a string because of the parentheses. So that's just something you can watch out for. You want to make sure that you're comparing integers to integers and strings to strings. So we're going to put back up here Subaru, and put down here Subaru. So like before, we checked ages, and we're going to say we're going to do an if-else chain. So let's say we're going to an amusement park. I just put magic numbers, this one. So let's say we're going to compare this age. You go to an amusement park, and they've got different pricing based on ages, right? 0 to 4 would be free. 4 to 12 would be like $20. And then anything older than 4 to 18 would be like $20, and then anything older than 18 would be $40. So let's say we want to check all three of those. So first we would type if age is less than 4. We're going to print your admission is free. I know a 4-year-old probably can't read that, but we would put that. So let's say now we want to do something else. So you can type elif. So this is else if, and it's going to go down this list. So the first thing it's going to check, okay, is 12 less than 4? No. Okay, we're going to go to the next one. Is 12 less than 18? Yep. So it's going to probably print this one out. So we're going to get print your admission is $20. And then there's something else we could do. We could type elif age greater than 18. But that, you see, that's probably going to give us a problem here, and I'll show you why in just a second. Print your admission is $40. Jack the price up on you once you hit an adult. So if we run this, you can see our admission is $20 because we're 12. But what would happen if I was to type 18? We get no response, and that's because we have something for less than 18 and we have something for greater than 18. So to avoid these problems, sometimes you would want to put, instead of using elif to cover everything, you would just put else. So if it doesn't match these two, and no matter what, it's just going to print this last thing. So if you don't match the other two, your admission is $40. And if we run that, you can see our admission is $40 because we are 18. And that's just what you want to do. You want to put an else statement to where if it doesn't match anything else, any of this stuff, else we're going to do this. And that's just to cover all your bases. So let's say we want to, instead of printing out, your admission is this, blah, 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 for every single thing, let's say we're going to put if age less than 4, price, or not price equals 0, else if age less than 18, price equals 20, if age, so they have something for seniors, less than 65, so if you are less than 65, your price is $40, and then else price is equal to $20. So now instead of having a print statement for every single thing, you can just check. Well, let's put age 15. It's not going to print out something anytime it goes to it. It's just going to equate this to a variable, and then we're going to print. We'll use the format function. Your admission is $, and then in here we'll put the price variable. So if we run this, your admission is $20 because it looks all right. We're more than 4 or less than 18, so our price is $20. So it just sets the price to this amount, and then down here is where we have our print. So it cleans up the code, makes it where you don't have print statements in every single statement. You just have down here at the bottom, outside of the if loop, or outside the if statement, price has been set already. We're going to call that price, and we're going to print it out. So we can test here. If we put 65, price is $20 because our age is not less than 65. It is actually 65, so it's going to go down to the else, and you're going to get that senior discount of $20. All right, so let's see here. All right, now we're going to look at something where we're going to request some toppings, and if it's in there, we're going to make some statements. So we're going to put requested _ toppings. So let's say we've got mushrooms and extra cheese. This guy's doing some weird pizza. It's just mushrooms and extra cheese. All right, so if mushrooms is in our requested toppings, we're going to print adding mushrooms. Elif pepperoni is in our requested toppings, we're going to print adding pepperoni, and then one more elif extra cheese a lot of E's there. In requested toppings, we're going to print adding extra cheese. And then finally, after all of this, we're going to print finish making your pizza. So if you look here, each of these statements, it's going to run only this top one. And that's because if you have an elif chain, it doesn't, once it finds something that it matches to, it does that and that's it. And that's why we've got extra cheese here. But although we're saying elif down here for extra cheese, adding extra cheese, we don't see that here. We only see the top one. That's because we match the top one. That's all that matters. And we're going to pop out here, finish making your pizza. So you got to make sure whenever you're running different things in if statements and elif statements, you got to make sure that if you want it to end at the top, you only put one statement up here, and all these other statements you have to realize are going to be ignored. All right, so we are going to check for special items. All right, so let's say we've got, we're going to do requested toppings again. I don't know why I deleted that. Let's say we've got mushrooms, green peppers, and cheese. So what we're going to do is for requested topping, we're just going to put requested. For requested and requested toppings, so this is going to do for every single item inside of this list. So for mushrooms, green peppers, and cheese, we're going to print out a statement saying, with the function, we're going to put adding, and then in this curly brackets here, we're going to put requested. So every single time it has one, we're going to go through here. Oops. And this statement at the end is outside of our for loop. So it's going to keep printing out adding XYZ, and then once it's finished, it's going to move outside of the for loop and come down here and make this final statement. And it's going to say finished making your pizza. So if you run this, it's going to say adding mushrooms, adding green peppers, adding cheese. Unlike our previous one, which I deleted, which was an if statement. So this is where you'd want to use a for loop opposed to an if statement, because if you just put if, it's only going to realize one and it's not going to run through all the other ones. So this is going to do for each topping, we're going to make the variable requested take place of each of these items in the list, and we're going to print out something saying adding each of these requested items. And at the end, we're going to say finish making your pizza. So if there are other ways you can do this. So let's say someone's requesting a pizza, but they accidentally forget to put in, or they intentionally didn't put any toppings. So we would do if requested toppings. I don't know why it keeps popping up. For requested in requested toppings, print adding requested. Oops, if I could spell adding requested. Why? Oh, I forgot to put F. There we go. So we want to use the format again. We're going to use requested as our variable, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put finished making pizza. Else, we're going to print, are you sure you want a plain pizza? So since our list up here is empty, we're going to get, are you sure you want a plain pizza? Because there is nothing to fill this variable of requested, although I spelled it incorrectly. There we go. There's nothing to fill this variable of requested in requested topping. So it's not going to be able to do any of this. It's just going to go straight down to the else statement and say, are you sure you want a plain pizza? So this is how you can make sure whenever you're creating a list that the list is actually populated with data. All right, I think that's all I'm going to cover for now. The next video is going to cover creating lists inside of lists, so we can have different types of toppings and creating their own lists and things like that. After we do lists, the next chapter covers dictionaries, and dictionaries are basically kind of like lists, but they just go a little bit more in detail, and how you can have multiple things inside of one dictionary, and you can insert information from a list into a dictionary and compare both of them. So that's what we're going to talk about in the next lesson. So thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.